Norview is a community just west of the airport. And like most Black communities of a certain era, it was home to a candy lady. On paper, the role of the candy lady was to sell snacks to kids in the neighborhood. The reality is that this figure embodied a much bigger purpose.
Marvin Parker, I go by Marv P. The prominent part of my childhood is like Campostella. So grew up there with my grandma and my mom's. It was a tough situation growing up, lower class, but I think the community was great, as in like resources and as a family. Like I grew up in the 90s, I'm born in 93. On like South Side, it's like a lot of drug culture, especially in the 90s. It was everywhere. So it's like addicts everywhere, dealers everywhere, just like the amount of things that just was going on and us as kids just super in the mix of it. So it was kind of like you either showed it yourself or you was just exposed. It was impossible to not be exposed to everything, you know, because it was just all around you and it's just your neighborhood, you know?
Marv moved from Campostella to Norview with his mom. This meant a new area and new people. And even though he was in the same city, he felt culture shock. Luckily, there was one constant.
My mom, Dukes, is the toughest person. She had like a little gangster vibe. So when we moved out there, they tried to like get me in the gang. And she wasn't having it. I didn't even know the lingo. So, you know, they speak with certain lingo. So I went and asked her, like, what does this mean? They asked me that. And she went out there with a little house gown and was like, nah, we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? This us. We don't do that. Y'all don't come over here asking about it no more, or y'all gonna have some problems, because that ain't what we doing. And in my head, I was like, oh my God, they gonna kill me. Like, these kids are gonna set me up. But everybody kind of respected her after that. It was like, your mom Deuce is crazy. And I was like, yeah, it's my mama, man. But she became the candy lady after that because everybody just loved her. And she was like the mother of the neighborhood. So even the crazy guys, you know, everybody just had love for my mom Duke. So it was almost like home base for our neighborhood, because I grew up in Wellington Oaks and Norview. So for like our, like 5 streets this way, 5 streets that way, she was like mama, and everybody knew her. In the neighborhood, it's, growing up in the 90s and early 2000s, I don't think it's as prominent now, but every neighborhood had a candy lady and they would sell candy. Just for the kids in the neighborhood, they have frozen cups, sodas, and it's really a convenience thing to keep you from going outside the neighborhood for things. It was actually safer, even though it was so much going on, your neighborhood protected you. So everybody in your neighborhood kind of knew who you were and knew who your parents were, so everybody looked out for each other in a sense. I don't remember anything ever happening to anybody from my neighborhood, in my neighborhood. It'd be the people that come in your neighborhood. So it's like home base. You go there, they might sell like little candy bars, like the snack size candy bars, or Huggies, sodas, chips, things of that nature. It's literally a convenience store, but in the neighborhood. And frozen cups, so that's where like all the kids go. By all the kids coming there, all the, you know, adults and literally everybody, every age. So it's gonna prevent you from going in the store. And you might be at the crib, you might be at your house, and you might just want something to snack on. You going to the candy lady, you're not going to the store. Cause that's just in reference, okay, like from where I lived at, the store is like a mile up the street. The candy lady's right on the next street. You're going to the candy lady. So yeah, that's what the candy lady is, though. It's like, it's home base and it's like a safe place for everybody because everybody knows the candy lady.
And the candy lady knows everybody. Becoming the candy lady of this new area was a convenient way for Ma Dukes to keep tabs on Marv P. Plus, it suited her.
My mom, she was comfortable everywhere. I don't know a place she wasn't comfortable. Most candy ladies just start off like a side hustle. People in the neighborhood already respect you. I can't imagine somebody being a candy lady that the neighborhood doesn't respect, because that would be weird. I feel like they'd just be like stealing, taking their stuff all the time. Everybody already kind of started to know my moms in the neighborhood because we didn't drive anywhere. My mom didn't have a car. So we caught the bus. She walked through the neighborhood to go to the store. You knew her as the lady that walked back with the baskets. Everybody kind of knew her. From like a month or 2 months in, I always say my mom was famous because anywhere we go in Norfolk, she knew somebody. When we moved out there, she knew everybody. It don't matter where we go.
Being the candy lady wasn't just about having snacks on hand. Marv P. remembers how, when he would get into it with his peers, the whole neighborhood would get involved. But maybe not in the way you would think.
I don't know if this is for every neighborhood, but in my neighborhood, it's kind of like the mediator. I would get into stuff, and like, let's say you get into a fight in the neighborhood and it's like, nah, the older generation handles things differently. They just like, nah, we're not gonna do all of that, and it's not gonna be an everyday thing, and it's not going no further than today. So come here, we're gonna settle this difference, and we're gonna shake hands and end it here. And that's kind of like how I grew up with my mom's. Is to be that person that kind of like, I see you over, you better watch out. I know what you over there doing. It's like a parent, because a lot of kids in these communities don't have like active parents. So attention is needed, and they do things to like seek attention. So for me, it happened quite a few times. I'm a boy growing up in the neighborhood, and I feel like that's kind of just what we do. You have differences and you get into things, but everybody talks in the neighborhood. So by the time you get home, she already knows whatever happened.
There was this one time in particular.
So I get home, and I'm not even going home for long. I think I'm just grabbing something like to drink or something. So she was like, yeah, I heard you was fighting over on Harvey. What's that about? Did you win? so I'm like, yeah. Okay, what was that about though? I'm like, nah, they tripping. Basically, like, it's like new kids in the neighborhood, and they like, I kind of knew myself early, so I never really participated in trying to be something I'm not. So, but when new people come around and feel like they have to assert themselves or be this like tough person. And we used to play football, and they just doing the most. So we get into a fight, and I go home and she knows about it. So it's like, go get them. So I walk around the corner, me and my friends, we go back, and it's like, yo, my mom's want y'all to come around the corner. And she want to speak to your peoples. And at first it's like, I'm not getting my mama, but then you got like, I'm not going back around there without them. So I'm like, we're not doing that. So you better come on. So you get around there, and we get to the front of my house. It's like, and crazy, it's like concrete too. It's a no, 'cause you got like your little driveway. You don't really got grass. It's like the street. We get there, and it's like, when something's going on in the neighborhood, half of the neighborhood's outside. So imagine in front of my house, it's like 35 people. It's every kid from the 5 streets over, and some of the adults, some of the older kids, and everybody's trying to see what's really gonna go on. So my mom, we get over there, and she's like, what's the problem? So, as kids, we like, nothing, it ain't nothing, it's over. And she was like, so, circle up. And you two are in the middle. You either fight or figure it out. And then one person has to say, I don't wanna fight. And then you shake hands and it's over. That's kind of how like a lot of things was ended when it came to, if my mother was involved, that's exactly how it ended. So it don't matter if you could have fought in a whole nother neighborhood. If it makes it to the neighborhood, then that's how it has to be resolved. It ain't no more fighting 15 times after this. It ain't going to the school, and ain't going nowhere. It's going to end right here. And then you fight, you dust yourself off, you shake hands. You still don't like them, but you're going to shake hands because, your mom's there. And that's kind of how it ends. And the crazier part is you actually grow a respect for the person. So after that, y'all end up friends. Like after that, we end up kind of hanging out. But he was a whole different kid at that point too. It was like he wasn't the guy he moved there being. So he was himself at that point, because you realize you don't have to put on like this tough guy thing. When you move into a neighborhood, it's the whole neighborhood versus you until you become a part of the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we stick together, and you're new here. You're not finna come in here and going crazy and doing all this stuff. So it's like, it's all of us against you. Or you could just be a part of us. It's like, and that actually sounds gangish, but
The Candy Lady wasn't unique to this neighborhood in Norfolk. She was a staple in neighborhoods across America. There's an article that we came across after this conversation that perfectly encapsulates the beauty of the role of the Candy Lady. It's linked in the show notes. Visit our website, truthbetoldcommunity.com, to find out ways to get involved and share this episode with friends. This series was written by Jackie Glass and Hannah Sobel, edited and hosted by me, Nicole Hill, sound design by Trindell Lightburn, and our work has been supported by the Virginia African American Cultural Center through a grant from the Virginia Tourism Corporation. Follow our work by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts. We couldn't do this without people brave enough to share their experiences. So thank you, Marv P., and of course, my Dukes.